Thank you all for your patience. Thank you for your perseverance, standing in line. On behalf of the staff, hardworking staff, let's give the staff here a round of applause. They work very hard. On behalf of the staff, library staff, I'd like to welcome you to an evening with Common. We've got a few special guests. We've got Christopher Griffiths, who's vice president of our board, does a lot of behind-the-scenes work. And we've got an out-of-state visitor. We got Miss Fran Bell. She's the one that has connected us with so much talent. A few housekeeping rules. The restrooms are to the back, to the left. We ask that we keep all the aisleways clear, so please remain seated while you take pictures. We have a robust Black History Month series that'll begin next week, beginning with National Book Award winning author Jesmyn Ward. We have Sonia Sanchez, Talib Kweli, Malcolm Jamal Warner, Ben Crump, Amanda Seals, and Misty Copeland. So follow our social media pages for times and dates. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce the moderator for today's event. It's an esteemed colleague of mine. His name is Mr. Forrest Foster, and he is the Assistant Dean of Libraries at North Carolina A&T. And so he's HBCU. So I'd like for him to approach the podium and welcome and let's give him a warm welcome.
Good evening. How's everybody doing? Good. Well, this guy needs no introduction, so let's get this thing started. We're not gonna waste any time. We're a little bit behind. Get on your feet, y'all. Let's go. Let's get on your feet. Y'all know this guy. He's a Grammy Award winning, Oscar, Emmy Award winning. He needs no introduction. Y'all bring it out for Common.
Song. No doubt. Everybody ready for a good show? Yeah, we're not gonna waste any time here. That was told we only have about 40 minutes, so we're gonna get started. Common, how you feel?
Peace. I'm great. How's everybody feeling? I'm great, Forrest. Thank you.
No doubt. And let's give it up for Wilmington Public Library so he's been on a tour, this book tour, as you can see it in front of us, and then we rise. So my man, why the book, why the content, why now?
Well, the book it came at a time for me where I really wanted to speak to our communities. I wanted to speak to people, I wanted to speak to Black men. I wanted to speak to us about taking care of ourselves and loving ourselves, because that's something that we really never heard growing up. And I wanted to express, not just to say it, but to give ways to do it, because when you like ask somebody to do something, you may need to show them what it is in certain ways. And I wanted this book to be something very simple, very easy to digest and to read, but it really be a powerful step towards us loving ourselves and overcoming all this negative energy that's been going on in this country. It's been going on with us generationally. I wanted to express and show the tools, things that I've had access to. I've been blessed because I've been traveling and seeing and meeting different people around the planet, and because I've been seeking, I've been introduced to different ways to take care of myself and to be my most joyous self and my most loving self and my most powerful self. And I have no other option but to do it the way Harriet Tubman do it. And I feel like if I'm getting free, then I gotta come back and free.
Right.
So I was like, this book is that. And when you think about the timing, for me, the timing, you know, I've been living this lifestyle for a long time, since like mid-90s is when it started. And, you know, as I culminated, I never really was around people being like, you should do this or do that. People sometimes, because I would eat vegetarian or vegan, would be like, sorry if I'm eating this meat. No, eat what you want. You gotta, this is not a judgmental, like you should be doing this thing. It's more like, for me, I just tried to live by example. And if someone picked up something from me that could benefit their life, I wanted that to be, because that's what happened for me. Some of the things I'm talking about in the book strictly came from me observing and being in conversations. Right. It wasn't all things that I read. So I really felt that sharing this at a time, the timing was about, man, I've been on this journey for a long time, but this was a time where during the pandemic, I really had people reaching out to me, friends asking me, yo, what should I do? What should I take? Even a doctor, a friend who's one of my best friends who's a doctor, said, man, what could I be taking right now? Because he was really concerned. And I was like, wow, he's coming to me, and I'm only sharing the information that I've learned from others. So I put those others in this book, and I just wanted to spread the word.
Thank you for sharing that, man. I know a lot of times, you know, some of the information that you share in memoirs can be sensitive, you know, and so we're thankful for you for sharing that. I know you address certain tenets in that book. You know, you touch on, you know, mind, body, and soul. Can you touch a little bit about that? You don't have to touch on each one, but just pick one and just, what's the one that you want to share the most with the crowd?
Well, I think the mind is something that is really important, that I'm starting to learn more and more, like how important it is. And I'm using the mind because even as I talked with Dr. Tracy Rico, who's one of the doctors, integrative doctors that I work with, is in the book, she says a phrase to me, and even if I don't get it exactly right, she was like, our body is the house that is controlled by our mind. So that means, like, even if I'm getting my body right, if my mind ain't right, my body will never be at the highest level that it should be. That goes for when a doctor tells you, hey, here's this prescription. If you don't really believe that you're gonna heal, then it's a chance that that medicine may not work. And especially when you're doing natural homeopathic things, belief is part of it. That's why they call it integrative medicine, because they also require you to use your mind to be a part of the healing, which actually makes you a strong individual. It builds up so many things within you. So the mind has been so important too, because in the roughest of times for me, my spirituality, which I refer to as the soul, has been the foundation. But I had to get my mind to that place of hearing what God wanted to say to me. You know, because sometimes your mind could be so cluttered with things. And the reason why I talk about food is because eating certain foods or removing certain foods and choosing to eat certain foods allow my mind to be clearer. So that mind was really affecting everything that I was doing. And that applies to just the regular natural thing of just being like, man, I don't feel like working out today, but I'm gonna go do it. It takes the mind to allow you to do that, to get your body up and go do it. So I think, you know, it's very intentional, and you know, that's one of the things. But I wrote the book and put all those pillars because really all of it is connected. And if you got one down, that's great. But if you don't have all of them down, then you'll never be at the full potential and full capacity that the Creator created you to be at. And I'm a witness of that because, in certain moments, I had my spirituality down, but my mind wasn't all the way there. And I wasn't even working on my body in a way that allowed my mind to be clear. And I just needed to start understanding why I'm eating certain foods and where this comes from and how it affects me. And it all, to me, started to feed me as a person. And I just started feeling more powerful, more conscious of what I was doing. That don't mean I was doing everything perfect. It's just like, hey, I want to go out this night and just drink and kick it. I'm gonna do that. If I want to eat my French fries and my brownies, I'm gonna do that. But at least I'm conscious of when I'm doing it and not just doing it out of habit, just because I've been told, or this is the culture that we've accepted, and this is how we're supposed to live, and we've been advertised over and over about what we should take. At least I'm doing it because I'm aware, and it's me saying, hey, I'm gonna choose to do this for myself.
Y'all give it up for that. Y'all give it up. I want to touch on food real quick. I know in the past, and you probably still are, you talk about being a vegan and pescatarian. So where you are right now in that stage?
Yeah, I'm a vegan now, yeah. And let me say that to all meat eaters, whatever, eat what you need to, but it's a balance in life that has to happen. And, the truth of the matter is, when I first started being vegetarian, one of the things that I heard from anybody that ate meat, especially my mother and them, they was like, Granny ate meat till she was 99. Yeah, but that meat was way different.
Fat back, Lord.
Yeah, that meat was a different type of meat. And she was down in Mississippi watching them animals being raised, and they were dealing with it from a whole nother level, and they weren't dealing with the processed foods that we have here. And especially, I want to make note that in America, we have it even as a bigger issue. Because when I go overseas, and I stayed in London for a while, the foods are not as detrimental to people's health. And I had a chef over there for a second, and who I brought from the States, and she was like, I can't even get some of the same foods that we used to, or the things, because they just made sure that it didn't have as much garbage in it. I mean, it's stuff out there that can show us why we need to pay attention to what we're eating. It's a new documentary that Black Rashawn was telling me. It's called You Are What You Eat. And it's something when you see the dude that's raising chickens saying, no, I don't feed this to my family. That's a signal right there. Now, if we go out and get farm-raised chickens, and those things that I've been treated well, that's a different thing. But one of the most important things that struck me, I started eating vegan in the late 90s. Then I went to fish, but never got back to dairy or beef or pork. But I just remember when I first moved to New York, someone said to me, man, your body is life. You want to put life into your body. And I started thinking about the things that I was putting that was death into my body. And I'd already started the quest just from hearing KRS. That rhyme, y'all, by the way. Started the quest from hearing KRS. And that was super fresh. But anyway.
Keep it going. Let's keep it going.
But seriously. But then I read, Eat to Live by Elijah Muhammad, and I also just was around conscious eaters. So my suggestion to anyone is just, be aware, eat conscious, it's a way to love yourself and eat, because food is one of the most addictive things we have here in America, probably in the world. So yeah, I mean.
Yeah, no doubt. I want to talk about your body. I got you going on a roll, so let's just keep rolling. So, I saw the other day you were on stage at the morning show. You were working out. You were doing some calisthenics. So what did they have you doing up there? What's some of your regimen that you do? What's your regimen that you do every morning?
Well, I mean, before the body, my regimen starts with gratitude and thanks to God just for waking up in the morning. And I believe in scriptures being the pathways to help me to apply my God self on the planet. So I read a lot of scriptures that I go to are from the New Testament in the Bible. And then I get into a quick meditation. It's not long. It's under 2 minutes of a meditation, but it's good for me. And then I get my vitamins and supplements. So let me say that that's the start of my day. But then when it comes to body, which I do feel like even obviously taking those supplements and things are helpful towards the physical attributes of the body, but I do a workout. Now I work out. I like to move around because I grew up playing sports. So I like to move around still. And my friends tell me I should be chilling and not be trying to break dance and do stuff like that, but I still got it, so I'm gonna do it, But listen, I have, a light workout. This takes no longer than 45 minutes, and it's a lot of movement and it's simple things, and even just to make it clear, like during the pandemic, when I didn't have weights, I still found like some push-ups, crunches to do, some squats, and using your body and body weight to do things, and just really it's about moving. It helps get those endorphins going, and you releasing a lot of negative energy just moving. Your workout don't have to be a weights workout or calisthenics. It could be a walk. A walk is very good for the mind too. And so it's like choosing what works for you. I know people that like to ride bikes. I know people that do yoga. And my course has just been like, I like the workouts, and I really actually love playing basketball. I don't do it as much, but that's for me is a fun workout. Even if I ain't looking at it as a workout, it's still like, I think it's so important for us to move around because, speaking with the doctors and the people that I speak with, they reinforce to me, you don't have to believe that like when you get older, you're gonna be stiff and not able to move. They teach a different way of thinking. And I think that the more we think like, that, hey man, I could be 90 years old and moving around and doing things and don't have to be like just still and not be loose. But it depends on how we treat our bodies too, that determines that. So with that in mind, even when I don't feel like working out, as I spoke of earlier, I'm gonna get my workout in. But if I allocate it to myself that, man, 5 days out of the week I'm gonna work out, I'm gonna do those 5 days. And even if that means like, okay, I start in the mornings at 8 a.m., I'm gonna have to get up at like 5:30 to do my reading and go get a quick workout in, I'm gonna do it. And the reason why I do that is because when we go through the day, we deal with a lot of stuff. But if I know I fed myself and took care of myself, like I feel better, I'm fuller, I'm more complete, I'm more centered. I can really be in my power when I'm dealing with all the stuff, whether good or bad. So I make sure. And if sometimes I don't get that workout in the morning, I come out in the afternoon and get it in. And it's some days I've missed where I'll be like, okay, I'll make it up. Or, one thing I want to discuss and just share is like, man, sometimes you go not hit the mark, but you don't beat yourself up and like, man, I'm done with it just because you might miss a few days. You kind of got to give yourself some love and think about the positive things. Well, man, I hit 4 days out of the 5 I said. So next week I'm gonna hit them that 5. But the body is important to me, so that's why I put in that.
Very inspirational, man. Focus again about being intentional. Everybody has their own situations and their own dynamics to where they come from. But I guess what I'm hearing from you is, and what I've read so far is, try to find certain ways to be intentional about your own situation, right? Do what you can do, right? Yeah, no doubt. How is this book different from your previous memoirs? I know we talked a little bit about this before we came out, but I'm not sure if everybody knows that he has some memoirs already out, some very good literature that y'all need to read. So if you could just touch on the 2011 book just a little bit, One Day It All Makes Sense. I think that's the title of your third album too, which I love. So just touch on that just a little bit. So for those that haven't, read that yet.
There was the other 2 books that I wrote, One Day It All Makes Sense and Let Love Have the Last Word. They both were memoirs, and I think they just had a lot of things in my life that I learned, and it was to be honest, it was heavier, a little heavier, because it was things going on that I talked about that were heavy. This book is more of a practical thing, and it's really not about my life as much as it is about you. About like, okay, what am I going to do for myself? Oh, these are some of the things. That's why we put recipes in the book. We put like workouts in the book. We put a playlist so you can say, oh, let me pick these things up, and this is how I'm going to move. This is what I'm going to choose to do. Now, of course, I chose stories that led me to why I'm thinking this way or why I'm sharing this information with you. And stories, anybody, you know, we all like good literature or reading or films. Good stories are good stories. So I wanted to make sure the stories were there to keep, you know, the reader going and we going. But the point is the practical things of how these steps can lead to you changing your life and being your best self. So this book is a lot more practical and brighter than the other books.
Yeah, definitely. I would say so too. We're just gonna pivot just a little bit. I know we've been on the book, and I know that's why we're here. We're gonna segment and pivot a little bit. I wanna ask you a little, I call it the geeked out moment, the geeked out section of the show.
That's something that a lot of artists from Chicago would love, because we do have so much talent there. Like, I mean,
for sure.
Even if we get into the roots of Chicago, we can go back to Nat King Cole and like Sam Cooke and Herbie Hancock and Curtis Mayfield and Minnie Riperton and Shaka Khan. Fast forward into the hip hop artists, from myself to Twista to Do or Die to Kanye to Lupe Fiasco, you know, to Chance, you know, to Lil Durk, like G Herbo. It's a lot of artists that got some no name.
Right.
Yeah, so, and the producers you named, Doug F. No IP, Twilight Tone, these are some great producers. Traxter, like, so I mean, it can happen. It's just, I think Traxter's been doing something like that, putting a lot of Chicago artists out on one album, but
yeah,
we can get that going.
Yeah, y'all heard that now. Y'all heard that. Yeah, give it up for that. For all the hip hop fans out there, man. So how's your relationship with Kanye? You know, I know he catches a lot of flack, but how are y'all doing? You know, as far as, you know, friendship, you know what I mean?
I mean, for me, friendship is, first of all, just specifically for me and Kanye, that's my brother for life. And things that he may do, I can disagree with. I disagree with loved ones all the time, but that still don't stop me from loving you and saying, this is my brother. And, you know, that type of brotherhood that we do have, like that brother did a lot for me at a time when I was like trying to figure out where I really was. And I don't forget those things. So no matter what people say or what has happened, I understand what this person has meant to me. So I'm not going to just give up or make that relationship be like it's nothing because I don't agree with something. And for me, that's what true brotherhood and love is. Sisterhood is, you know, you love those for who they are. You still have boundaries and tell them what you ain't gonna accept, or you know, or what you deserve, and you let them know when they ain't doing something you think is right. You let them know that too. It's like the same way my mother lets me know when she feel like I ain't doing something right.
Right.
So our brotherhood is great. I think, you know, and I love
talk about it on Speak My Piece.
What did I say?
Yeah, you said something like, Kanye's my boy from back in the day. Well, I don't care what they say.
Oh, yeah, okay,
You know what I'm
okay.
saying?
I didn't even remember that.
Nobody's smiling at me. You know what I'm saying?
Come on,
man. I'm on it.
Yeah, I mean, I ain't gonna front. Sometimes, you know, you write songs and you don't always listen to them eventually. Like, so, I mean, I'm saying after the cycle of you promoting the song, the music, because you could go on to the next thing. So I'm glad you reminded me of that. I didn't
Yeah, man. Well, hopefully, you know, 10 minutes, maybe somebody can pull it up for us. But yeah. And that album, too, I think is very underrated. Nobody's smiling. I think that was a dark time in America. civil unrest was going on, still continuing on. But I think that was at its height, one of its heights, in regards to what we're doing. So,
Well, I've been like, I've been thinking, speaking of Kanye, I had a reflection moment where I was like, man, I've been able to work with some really talented producers, like starting from No ID, Twilight Zone, going on to like Jay Dilla and Questlove and then like Kanye and Pharrell and like Premier and High Tech. Like, man, these incredible producers. And now I'm getting to work with Pete Rock on this new album that I'm working on, and it's like, man, I'm very grateful and blessed, and it's inspiring for me. So as much as I'm like, okay, man, the music I've done, I also believe, because I still love the music, I still love hip hop, that I'm like, man, I got more to deliver, I got more things to give, I still have the passion for it. So I'm basically plugging my new album that's coming out. Like,
I was gonna wait for the end, but you did it now, so yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm just trying to, you know what I'm saying?
So, quick question. Just another geeked out moment for some of my people I know, because I'm trying to get a breath of all the questions. The Dilla moment, right? Everybody talks about the comparison of Kanye, and Kanye. What, in your eyes, so I'm sure you've been around them all, who influenced who? Because everybody forgets this person. Dilla or D'Angelo? Or vice versa.
You said who influenced who?
Yeah, I mean, just the sound, the vibe, the offbeat. Because, they kind of came around at the same time. I know you worked with both of them, but I think D'Angelo kind of gets lost in the shuffle. I think he's strictly R&B, but he has some hip-hop-esque beats in his...
Yeah. Well, D'Angelo is one of my favorite artists and one of the greatest vocalists of our generation, and there's no doubt. So whoever he's lost, whoever's losing, we need to find something, because that dude is a bad dude. That's a bad dude. Now, Jay Dilla, who some people are not aware of, but he's like the unsung hero of so many producers and artists, because he innovated a music genre that hadn't been touched in that way. He was from Detroit, young brother from Detroit, and he was just a gifted producer, to the point where they wrote in an article in the LA Times where they said it was like, they named 4 artists that had changed music throughout the centuries. They wrote Beethoven, they wrote John Coltrane, they wrote Jay Dilla, and I believe it was James Brown. When you go in that company, and they was talking about centuries. So if you're not aware of Jay Dilla, just check out some of his music. He ended up being one of my closest friends that I met through this industry. It just became my brother, and we were roommates before he passed in 2006 of lupus. And his music influenced so many producers, to the point where, like, I was in the front room we were about to, Kanye and I and my mother and his mother, we were all going for a Mother's Day.
Speak up.
We was going to a Mother's Day lunch, brunch, and Jay Dilla gave Kanye this record that had these drums on it. And Kanye just held it like it was the Holy Grail. He was just like, oh my God, this is Dilla. And that day we went to the studio, Ye was just like, he couldn't wait to use those drums on a beat. And I don't remember exactly what beat he made from it, but Jay Dilla had that type of impact and influence. So to answer the question, I think, of course, D'Angelo influenced Jay Dilla too, but I think Dilla influenced a lot of producers, including D'Angelo, from that point there, of 96, 97 on. He was influencing a lot of, the same way Nas influenced a lot of rappers.
Gotcha. Hey, y'all give it up for Jay Dilla. Rest in peace. But you snuck in something real quick there. I gotta go back to that. You said that your mother, Kanye's mother, all y'all got together and had dinner and lunch. What was that conversation about? Both of them are academicians, educators. What was that? You don't have to be too detailed, but
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I mean, Kanye's mother, God bless her soul, is a special, special woman. And my mother is a special, special woman. And we were just grateful to be there with our mothers. That conversation was like anybody that's in here that's around their loved ones, their mother, their parents. It's like we were talking about regular things. The only thing is that Kanye's mother could bust into his raps real quick. And she knew she knew his verses, like she had them down. And I'd be like, Ma, you don't know nothing of what I'm doing. She didn't know my album, but it was, it was a lot of love. My mother and his mother became good friends at a certain point. My mother was a little older, but they became good friends. I think Dr. West, she brought some youth out of my mother, and my mother was bringing a little bit of elderly wisdom to her. And they had a great friendship and bond. And we was just two sons appreciating our mothers.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Y'all give it up for that. Speaking on relationships and all,
That's a bad segue. That's a bad segue. There's no flow to that.
no matter how good it was, it wasn't gonna be good regardless. So we saw the show. We saw the show. I didn't say that, but so what is life like now for Common? Can you speak on it just a little bit, if you don't mind?
I'll just say that I'm in a good place. I'm in a great place, and I'm grateful, and I'm just trying to be the best human being I can be. Relationships, you learn, you live, and you grow, and you try to give your best, and you want God to exist and be first in the relationship. And I learned from experience it's not really conducive or beneficial to your relationship if you care about it to be always putting it out there, talking about it, doing this. It's things is sacred to you. You keep them sacred. On Jennifer's show, we had a good time. We talked. We being ourselves. We'll leave it at that.
No doubt. Well, I tell you what, this was the fastest, quickest 30, 40 minutes that I've ever seen. Com, I appreciate you coming out. Wilmington, appreciate you coming out.
Thank you, Wilmington. Thank you, Wilmington. Thank you, everyone who helped put this together, Fran. Thank you.
Hold on 1 second, I got something for you. Of course, Common is a rattler. He's family.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
My man Mike right here, we went to college together. We used to call him Dover Mike. He was one of the only people I knew from Delaware. Actually, I got band members that I work with that are from Wilmington. Some of the best musicians I ever worked with, including Omar Edwards and Derek Hodge. These are incredible musicians, so I want to shout out Wilmington. Wilmington has impacted me in my musical, and Dover and Delaware has impacted me just by having a great friend in college that we used to bond and used to show us those East Coast dances,
Yeah. But we wanted to give you something from my university where I work, so I'm gonna let it remain a secret, even though it's probably already been let out. But I'm gonna give this to you, and if you could just pull it out for us, if you don't mind. This is from the good folks at North Carolina A&T State University, Bluford Library, FD Bluford Library. All HBCUs must coexist, right? So it's all love.
I support all HBCUs.
No doubt.
And shout out to North Carolina A&T, shout out to FAM, Howard, whatever school that we went to, Black colleges.
That's right.
Morgan State, Morehouse, Spelman, Savannah State, Dale State.
Lincoln, where's Lincoln? Lincoln, can't forget about Lincoln. There we go.
Well, I knew once I started one, it was over. I don't know why I did that.
Well, again, thank y'all for coming out, Calm.
Thank you.
Thank you, bro.